The most expensive thing on your budget is FOMO and the Joneses. Those two right there, those will absolutely destroy any hopes and dreams you have of having a happy, healthy retirement and happy, healthy financial life. Hello, my name is Jack. I am a former banker, mutual fund salesperson, and now currently an accounting student. I am here to talk about money in the way that I like to, no BS, what the banks don't want you to hear, all that jazz. Make sure you like the video, comment down in the below if you have any questions or you want to give me some feedback, as well as hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. That way you won't miss any potential videos. Also have TikTok and Instagram, they're down in the description. Check those out. So today, judging by the title, I have a controversial topic to cover. I don't think that home ownership is for everybody, and I'm gonna go through it here today with you and show you why I think that. Most of it just comes down to preparedness and having money in the bank for things. We'll get into some numbers, we'll take a look at a few things, and hopefully you will learn something along the way. So here in Canada especially, home ownership's the goal. Everybody wants to own a home at some point. That's what we do. We love our homes here in North America. We love owning homes in North America. And I generally think that home ownership is a good idea for the right people, but there's some situations where it doesn't make sense. I'm going to talk about some of those. So homes, honestly, in Canada return better than most traditional investments. You'll get access to credit facilities that you wouldn't normally have access to, large lines of credit for leverage and investing of some sorts, as well as you're not paying someone else's mortgage, you're paying your own, which is always good, right? Well, not always. Homes have hidden costs that we don't really think about. I'm going to touch on some of those here. So one of the big things with home ownership that I don't think people really think about is that everything inside of the house it's yours. So if the hot water heater goes, if the fridge blows, anything like that, you have to pay to fix and replace that. And that's fine for some people, but if you don't have a maintenance fund set aside or an emergency fund, it can get very expensive very quickly to maintain a home. These are active assets, they're active beings, they have a life of their own, and active beings take active management. So if a water heater was to go, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 depending on the circumstances of you and your home ownership. I'm gonna say about $1,000 to $2,000 because if it's any more than that, you probably have a big home and you're probably not concerned about the cost of replacing a home water heater. Another thing, a refrigerator, anywhere from $500 to $4,000 depending on the model you go with and what your needs are. Oftentimes when things break, that's when people make upgrades, and that's when we see those budget holes start to arise where we go over our budget because, well, I mean, I have to anyways, right? The other thing too with appliances is when you're taking a look at appliances, that's assuming that those appliances are designed for your home. A lot of older homes don't have space for appliances like the size of these new ones. I know my parents, for example, they have an older home, an older brick home. They went and bought a new refrigerator and they actually have to make an inset for it in the wall so it sits deep enough so their dishwasher can open. So these are things that weren't thought about when the kitchen was remodeled, you know, decades ago kind of thing. And so they're running into issues now. They got the dishwasher all sideways and everything is not lining up. So that's something they got to work on. That's a cost that you didn't think of replacing your refrigerator. But you get the point. Homes have maintenance, things break, etc., etc. So you're probably thinking, yeah, duh, everyone knows that you own the stuff inside of it and that homes have maintenance. And you're right. But what the vast majority of homeowners don't do, and especially young ones, is they don't have an emergency fund and they don't have a maintenance fund. These two things are the absolute key to successful, happy, and healthy home ownership. So you should be saving 1 to 2.5 times the value of your home per year in maintenance, for maintenance costs and maintenance upkeep and things like that. So if we're taking a look at a regular home, say $250,000, which gets you a decent enough home in my area, that's anywhere from $2,500 to $6,250 a year that you should be setting aside for maintenance for when things break. What you should also have is an emergency fund in case you become injured or you lose your job or you can't get income for whatever reason. Now you may have income replacement insurance on your mortgage loan, which is good, but there's definitely a lot of stipulations, and I can talk about creditor insurance all day if you'd like. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video about that. And I gave a range in percentages there because you will know which one you want to pick once you get into your house pretty quickly. You're going to know if it's a 1% house or a 2.5% house or even a 4 or 5% house. For an emergency fund, you should have 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside based on your income, so that's something for you to figure out. Just in case you lose that job, you've got a float account there and you won't run into any issues. And so you're probably thinking, how do I save for a down payment and a maintenance fund and an emergency fund all at the same time? I just can't do that. And I said, well, yeah, you probably can't. That's okay. That's kind of the point. I like to say, keep it simple, stupid. KISS, that's one of my favorite acronyms. If you don't have the money to buy a house, then just don't. It's not a big deal to not own a home. You're not wasting money by renting, and you can debate this in the comments all you want. Again, engagement helps algorithm. Let's have a discussion about that. A business was never carrying an asset that could potentially cost it 25% of its annual income just randomly. The nice thing about renting is your fridge goes, landlord's problem. Water heater goes, they get to open their wallet. Everything, even light bulbs technically, that's their problem. You know exactly how much this place is going to cost you every month, and you don't have to worry about it. If you pay $1,000 a month in rent, it's $1,000. Nothing can change that, except your annual rent increases, which are mandated by the government around here, so it's not that big of a deal. You can budget for that. Or if you're lucky, even on a smaller scale, I know I live in an apartment, well, I don't have to cut the grass, so I don't have to have a lawnmower, I don't have to fuel that lawnmower, do those things. That's another added benefit. I like that. So with these costs that come up, if you didn't have the money set aside to take care of them, what would you do? Well, there's a few options. You could use a credit card, which if you're paying off the balance is a good thing. You can get some credit card rewards points, but again, if you don't have money to maintain your home, you probably don't have money to pay off your credit card balance. So you're paying 22.5% interest. You could use a home equity credit line, which is a good tool for making leveraged investments, but it is not a good tool for day-to-day spending and those kind of things. You don't make money replacing your water heater. Don't use your HELOC for that. You could also use store credit or store finance plan. I know big furniture stores let you finance appliances, those things. Again, you can do that. There can be benefit to it, but don't do it. Now, I'm not here to say I'm anti-credit. I think having HELOC is a really good thing. HELOC lets you make leverage investments. If you've got a rate of, say, 2-3% on your HELOC, and you can make better investments, say buying another property or making some bond or stock market investments that you're comfortable with and you know the risks of leverage investing, which we'll get into, you can make a lot more than that interest that you're paying, but you shouldn't be using it for day-to-day costs that have no return. You're just paying money to the bank to pay money to the bank. That's not a good thing. And also, I'll tell you right now, you're not going to pay that HELOC balance down. I used to work at a bank. Not very many people have more than 20% equity in their home. They get that, and then they get that HELOC, and then every time they make a principal payment and that HELOC availability goes up, the HELOC balance also goes up because they find a way to spend it. Just keep that in mind. Not very many people are as rich as you think they are. They have a lot of home equity that they can take out, which they have. Another thing you can do if it's a minor issue, you could just ignore it. You got a leaky faucet, you know, a little bit of water gets into the basement in the spring, just a little, vacuum that up, not a big deal. Well, that's fine until you get into things like having to replace the bathroom vanity because of water damage or structural issues with your home. Speaking of my parents in their old brick home, they had to replace the entire foundation underneath the addition of their home because it wasn't built correctly. You know how difficult it is to rebuild the foundation underneath the already existing home? Let's go back to my hypothetical perfect self in these videos, except today I'm not perfect actually, which is funny. I spent every last dollar of my savings on the down payment for this home, and so now I have this beautiful home that I love and no money to maintain it. Well, let's take a look at some things you don't even think about. There's running costs to owning a home. Your furnace filter needs to be replaced every 3 months. It's not expensive, but it's not something you probably thought of. Fridges have filters these days as well, whether it's a freshness filter or a water filter or an ice filter. Those filters go as well, and you should replace them. Washing machines and dryers can get plugged up with lint and other crap and need major maintenance done to them or need to be replaced. I know in our apartment building here, the dryer is fine, but the washing machine doesn't do a great job. Leaves a lot of lint on our clothes. I spend a lot of money on lint rollers. Air conditioning units need to be cleaned every year or two for maximum efficiency, or else you're racking up those hydro bills, as well as shortening the life of your AC unit. Grass doesn't always grow back in the spring. You got to replant certain parts of your yard to keep up in your landscaping. I go on, et cetera, but you get the point. There's a lot of little things with a home that you just don't have to worry about when you rent if you don't have the money to cover them. We also talked to our friend from last week, opportunity cost. You like going out for May long, you want to go camping with your friends? Well, that's too bad. House needs spring maintenance. And you should probably do it on May long because then you're starting to dip into your summer if you don't. Friends want to go on a big vacation in a couple of months, a little bit short notice. Well, you can't because you just spent all your money on the house. You left the house alone for too long on your vacation. You managed to figure that out, took a little more debt, whatever you did. You went on that vacation, you left for a little bit too long, your house burns down or floods. Well, insurance isn't going to pay for that because you left the house unoccupied for too long. And so they are going to say that your insurance is not covered under unoccupied home claims. So that sucks a lot. So my conclusion is that home ownership can be and should be a good thing, but unprepared home ownership is the biggest nightmare you'll take on in your entire life. Don't jump into it. It doesn't matter when you buy a home. Who cares? The most expensive thing on your budget is FOMO and the Joneses. Those two right there, those will absolutely destroy any hopes and dreams you have of having a happy, healthy retirement and happy, healthy financial life. So what you should take away from this video is be ready, have cash set aside, make that maintenance fund, make that emergency fund. As soon as you move in, you're gonna wanna fix things anyways, paint the walls, change the blinds. You don't just move into a house and just plop your couch down and say, well, we're good to go. If you have the money to do it, you wanna repaint it, I bet you. And don't be afraid to rent either, to hedge against risk. You have that fixed cost, you know what it's gonna be. It's a nice thing to know what it's gonna cost you every month to live. So with that, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it. See you on the next one.